Welcome back to Blue Collar Speed and Repair. Our 59 Apache project is almost done. It runs and drives, all the wiring's done. I've taken on a few test drives. Everything seems to be working out pretty good. A couple big projects left. We got interior to do, and we need to do something about covering up our mess and building a bed floor. So I think the plan is that pile of rusty metal, that pile of cheap wood, and see if we can build something. So I've gone through a couple ideas with this. Originally I had planned on, I have the original inner fenders, and I was going to cut those down and modify them and put the bed floor at kind of that body line there, which is what a lot of people do. They do a floating bed floor kind of in the middle. A couple issues with that. For one, I can't build a frame and then be able to take the entire thing out. It would have to be two pieces. And the only reason I would have to take it out is to paint it. And it seems like a lot of extra work to have two frames just so I can pull it out one time and paint it. The other issue is when we put these wheels and tires on, they were a pain to get past the bedsides. It was a struggle even on the lift. Now, if you followed along, you know that we took this on a red test drive, ended up with a staple in the tire, and I took it down to work and fixed the tire. I did that with a floor jack, and it was even worse to get a tire out. It was a struggle. You'll notice how tight our clearances are on our bedside. And although the fender metal is not very thick, it would still add to our clearance issues. Plus, you end up having to take the tire, try to get this a good angle here, off the hub, drop it, twist it, and pull it out. Now, if you add an inner fender that would come down into here, that would be that much more difficult. It would be that much more in the way. It could be done, but still kind of a pain. Right, and then if you're changing a spare tire on the side of the road in the dirt, the more struggle you have, the more cuss words you end up using. So I think what we're going to try to do is do the bed floor all the way at the top of the bed rails. I've seen a few pictures of some. They look pretty good. It ends up looking like a wood tonneau cover. I think that's what we're going to go with here. Let me take that for a second. I think we're going to go just under the bed lip and end up about like that. And of course we'll stain it and clear it and all that stuff and make it purty, but I think that's the plan. And if we do it this way, I have lots of room back here. I think we're going to start with building a spare tire mount. I like to keep a spare with me. I don't really want to change a tire, especially a rear tire on the side of the road, but I'd rather have it not need it than need it not have it. Is usually my motto. Flat tires are a pain. I try to keep a spare in everything. As far as jack goes, there's plenty of room behind the seats. I have a small aluminum jack that I can wrap in a packing blanket or whatever. Also, pro tip: keep a packing blanket in your vehicle. If you're on the side of the road in gravel or dirt or whatever, you can lay it out. Or hot asphalt on a 100-degree day, packing blanket helps. I think the plan is to put a spare tire right above the fuel tank. We should be easily able to make a mounting point next to the compressor. And then there's all the holes and real estate to put attachment points across the back. I have a cheap wheel and tire, they're 17-inch, that I had with the C10, had the same size tires on it. 17-inch wheel, but the tire itself is the overall same height. So I guess we start there. Do we want to build a triangle? Do we want to build a square? I don't know. I haven't really thought that far ahead. The spare tire thing just kind of came to me. So.
How about a circle?
I'm not building a circle out of it. You go right ahead. That doesn't sound like a good time at all. All right, let me measure overall size and all that stuff, and see if we can come up with a game plan. So our tires are just a hair over 29 inches tall. So we need at least 30 inches of space this way, which will put us just over our compressor, which isn't that big of a deal, or not a big deal at all. As far as framing goes, though, I think we'll do the 30 inches that way, but I'm thinking 20 inches wide. That'll give the tire itself something to sit on, and then we'll do a crossbar and be able to bolt through one of the lug holes. So I think we're gonna start back here. We cut a piece of our angle iron. We can set it down right across this piece, and we have bolt holes already ready to go for us. And then we can build a frame, just a simple rectangle. And then we'll figure out legs after that. This should be fairly simple, I think. The hard part will be cutting little pieces, or not hard, but tedious part will be cutting little pieces for whatever we decide to do for legs in the front. Let's cut a couple pieces and I guess get to welding and cutting and grinding and making noise and filling the shop with smoke. Yay! All right, we have 1 inch by 1 inch angle iron. It's 3/16 thick. Should be plenty strong for what we're going to be doing in this video. You'll notice this one has a pretty good bend to it, and got some corrosion in places. There's a guy local to us that sells out of his property. He does used and new metal. Super cheap prices. This is something he had laying around for a long time, and we got like 5 20-foot sticks of it for basically nothing. Figured it'd be good for our project. Cheap, easy to use, and we don't need what 100 feet of it, obviously. So we'll use what we can out of it. Should be able to get a 20-inch section out of each end. I think we'll need 3 total if we're doing a frame as well. But you can see, got a bend to it. That's all right. We'll start with a 20-inch piece. I got a wire wheel. I'm not too concerned with it. We'll make it work. So 20 on that end, I guess. That end needs to be cut clean because he torch cut it for us. I apologize. My brain doesn't work like usual. Not really awake. Alright, see if I can cut a crooked line. I have a metal cutting chop saw, but it is a abrasive blade, and they're kind of a pain to use. I really want to get one of those evolution saws, like the cold saws. So expensive though. Most time I just use a cutoff wheel. Makes life easier. Clean up that edge, cut 2 more pieces. We'll take this over, clean it up a little bit, and see about mounting it across the back. We got our pieces cut, at least the start of it. This will be the piece that goes across the back of the bed as basically like a foot that will bolt to that bed rail. This is our basic frame. It'll be front and rear and the sides.
Weather's nice.
Somebody's having more fun than us, like usual. Still, Jesus. All right. Lost my train of thought. I did realize after the fact that I said 3/16 metal, which most of it is. Apparently got a stick of 1/8 inch. Realized that as I was cutting it that this wasn't 3/16. Should be fine for our spare tire mount, no big deal. The tedious part is, again, we bought this used metal that was on the guy's property for however long, got it super cheap. And you gotta turn that into cleaner metal with a wire wheel. So it takes a bunch of time. Anyway, I think from here, I could like angle this and cut these at 45 and all that stuff, but I find it easier if we just take and cut the corner out of one piece. Makes life a little bit simpler, I think, for what we're doing. It'll be plenty strong for what we're doing, I guess what I'm trying to say. So we take that, kind of eyeball that. So we'll cut this section of metal out and make sure and cut the corner out so this all fit together real nice. Let me cut those real quick and I'll show you what I'm talking about. All right, you see I cut one edge out. That'll allow these to fit nicely together. And then on the other side, we can bevel all these edges, fill it with level, grind it down smooth. It'll be plenty strong. So, take the grinder of this stuff, weld it up. We'll have the frame built, and we'll go get this mounted. I don't know, put a spare tire on it, I guess.
You bevel, I'll set up the welder.
What?
I said you bevel, I'll set up the welder.
Okay. I'm winging it like usual. I have zero plan. We got our frame built. It was 20 by 30. And started doing some measuring and came up with a little bit of an issue. Again, I didn't really plan anything. I just thought, hey, a spare tire should fit right there without issue. It looks like a lot of space, but there's really not. Original plan was to put the spare directly in the middle, right over the fuel tank. Grab this bar, laid it across. We have 13 inches to the top of that compressor. The problem is, we're gonna mount the wood basically at this level, at the bottom of the bed rail. That's about an inch. So now we're down to 12 inches, 3/4 of an inch of wood, and then an inch or so of the angle iron. That puts our spare tire directly on top of the compressor. So then Boss and I were discussing, well, what if we just offset it to one side? So if you go off of where it's sitting on the pressure switch, it's about 14.5 inches. Obviously we don't want it sitting on the pressure switch, so we come up a 1/2 inch or so. So that gains us an inch, but 14 inches minus the 2 1/4 here leaves us about 1 1/4 inches of space above the tire. I guess I should mention the tire's 10 inches tall, or wide. So we only have 1 1/4 inches between the tire and the frame of our bed floor. So there's no way for me to, the plan was to weld a bar across and then weld a nut in it and just thread a bolt in it to hold it in place. I'm not gonna be able to get my arm in to that bolt to tighten it or loosen it. So now what?
My 10-year-old brain's still stuck on a 10-inch tall tire on this truck, sorry.
Yeah. That would be funny. It wouldn't fit up with the brakes, but it would be funny. Anyway, so I think what we're gonna end up doing, and I didn't plan this way because I thought I was bolting it down, but what if we came up with, this is 30 inches and the tire is 29.5 or 29 3/4, it's basically 30 inches. If we came up with a piece of angle iron on the front, so the tire would sit against it, it's 20 inches wide. If we came out 5 inches and then up on both sides, the tire can't move side to side or forward, and then the tailgate will hold it in the back. So the spare tire would be bolted down, but it can't go anywhere. I just don't know if it'll want to bounce around. That's my big question.
It can only bounce an inch.
I understand that, but I don't want it beating around in here either. But if we want a spare tire in here, I don't see another option.
No passenger seat.
The only other option would be have it push against the front and make it away so we could wrap a ratchet strap around. But I still can't get my hand in to put a ratchet strap in. I don't know.
I mean, you could go across the whole tire with a ratchet strap.
Mm-hmm.
From like frame rail to frame rail, but it's still a pain.
What if we did something that's set against in the front?
Mm-hmm.
So 2 pieces. And then across the back, we had legs come up, put a piece of angle iron in that we bolted in. So essentially, we just squeeze the tire in this way.
Sure.
Sure.
How are you going to get the tire out over the legs in the back?
I didn't think that far ahead.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you turn it the other way.
What do you mean? It's round.
I meant the frame.
Oh.
And then it's 30 inches wide, which is slightly wider than the tire. That could work.
You know, there's a reason I keep you here.
Just going to trap the tire in the truck.
Let me take this over the table. Take the spare tire over there. See if I can make my brain work. Unlikely.
You should take your tape measure too.
Yeah. I think we're definitely going to have to be offset though. I don't want the tire directly over the compressor because the compressor can get warm. And I don't need a constant heating and cooling on one spot of a tire. So I think offset is still the play. Spent a few minutes trying to think of a way to make a bracket or something to bolt on to hold everything in place. She brought up a good point. Why can't we just wrap a ratchet strap around it? That'll hold it down and keep it from sliding around. Not the best idea, but it's definitely the easiest and solves our issue. The only thing I'm really worried about is the ratchet strap drying out over time or from heat or whatever, and ended up in our breaking and ended up in our wiring or something. But I don't think that's real big of a concern. So I think what we're going to do is we have some of this bent metal left over. If we just make a stand on each side, maybe halfway up the tire, that'll keep the tire from wanting to go forward. And really, if they're at this axis, I guess you'd call it, it would keep the tire from sliding side to side too. And then if we have the tire all the way back, the tailgate will be at the very back. So it'll basically pretty much be wedged between the tailgate and these 2 points. And really the ratchet strap would just be to keep it from wanting to bounce and move around. So I think that's the game plan. We'll come up, I don't know, call it 5 inches, weld a couple pieces on there. Tailgate will hold it at the back. We should be able to easily slide a ratchet strap up over the top, wrap it around, couple ratchets, cut off the extra, and I don't think it'll go anywhere. At the end of the day, it's just a spare tire. It's, again, I'd rather have it not need it than need it and not have it. No reason to make it so complicated, I guess.
It's just a precaution, right?
Right, well, okay, so originally what I thought. let me go.
You were a man with a plan when this all started.
Yeah,
Plan
now
A.
this one's probably too short, but like I planned on doing a piece of angle iron across our frame here. Excuse me, and then just welding a nut to it. And the plan was just to drop the bolt through, be able to reach up through the back, tighten the bolt down, it'd be held down and couldn't go anywhere. We could even do 2 if we wanted to. The problem is we don't have the height. We'll end up with 1 3/4 inches, like I said. There's no way I can stick my arm up through there. There's also no real way to put like a lock nut or something on it, unless we did like a nylock nut or locking style nut or something. Same thing, if I come up through the bottom of that brace, there's no way to reach up underneath and get through this hole and put a nut on the top and then be able to hold the nut to tighten everything. So I think a ratchet strap is the way to go.
I don't think there would be clearance for you to see either what you were doing.
Right. You got to remember the tailgate would be all the way over here. So I'd be reaching all the way up into there, and then there's no way I get 2 hands regardless. So again, we're going to keep this nice and simple. The spare tire was actually an afterthought. This was just laying in the bed of the other C10. And this will keep it out of the weather and all that. The exhaust kicks out the side, so it won't have direct heat and it won't have direct sun beating on it either. So it'll be under the bed floor and out of our way in case we need it one day. Hopefully we don't. We'll cut a couple of these at 5 inches. We'll weld these on real quick, and then we can finally get around to actually mounting something maybe.
Has there been one thing easy about this truck at this point?
Any of them? Any of the vehicles that we've ever worked on? Nothing's ever easy. Mostly because my brain doesn't work and I make it harder on myself.
I just meant like we have to
I'm just a
customize
dummy with a toolbox.
to customize everything, even the seat bracket. I mean, it was for a 74.
Let's break it down. 74 front frame rails on a 59 frame, TMI seats on a custom bracket, exhaust is out of a Chevy 2, or the headers.
A 350 engine.
Yeah, a small block Chevy Tremec TKX, which didn't come in anything. The rear end is 4 inches wider than the factory one.
Yeah. So everything's custom.
Yeah, everything's custom. That's the way it is. So anyway, it's been a fun project and it's been a blast to work on. And I'm so happy with how it turned out. And to be perfectly honest, this is not the direction I planned on at all. I planned on doing a Mustang 2 front end, a Ford 9-inch, actually spending money on nice 4-links and all that stuff. And it's been more budget friendly, which is fine. But it's all worked out, I think.
I think it just shows that you can do more stuff on a budget. You don't just have to throw a ton of money at it.
So I am of the mindset, and I always have been, that you don't have to have the best of everything. I could have spent close to $2,000 on the wheels that I wanted, and these were $250 a piece. Not the wheels I wanted and pictured this with, but why? At the end of the day, why? It looks fantastic. Chairs in the way, but I'm happy with it. Again, I don't have the mindset of having to have the best of the best, but at the end of the day, this wasn't the exact plan I had, but it's all working out. So anyway, I'm gonna cut a couple pieces, weld those on. We have the other piece somewhere for the back.
It's down there.
We'll get that bolted in place and see about mounting something so we can move on with our day.
Yeah, we've been out here for a minute already.
Yeah, that's the way it works. Put a little, I don't know, stoppers, I guess, on those spare tire stoppers. It's sitting on the pressure switch right now, and we're sitting just under 15 inches. I guess it's closer to 14 3/4. So if we go to the bottom, we're at 6 1/4. If we make a leg, that's 6 3/4 for each side. That'll raise us off the pressure switch about 1/2 inch. That should be plenty. So what was, if we go up 1/2 inch, right?
Yep, 6
My brain
3/4.
stopped. It started buffering. Hang on. So 14 3/4, so we need 14 1/2 inches total. We move to the back. We are at 14 19 5/8. So we need to come up, excuse me, an 1/8 of an inch, which would be 4 7/8. So 2 legs at 4 7/8, and the 2 at 6 3/4, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go cut those real quick. All right, lots of them. Probably should move these over a little bit, but still can't go far even if the straps did come loose. And obviously with the strap on it, where's it going to go? The big question is it too high? So we've got 1 inch for our bedside, actually probably 1 1/4 inches. Another 3/4 of an inch of wood, that's 2 inches. And then another inch of angle iron. And we have 5 inches. So we've got 2 inches to spare. I think that's gonna work. That's still not enough to get my hand in like I was talking about, but that will be plenty of room to do something with that, or to make that work, I was trying to say. Now what?
I don't know. Got a whole frame to build.
Yep. Spare tire mount done. Went and had some lunch. The filler neck, I just kind of cut a chunk off and angled it back. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with that yet, so I decided not to make any kind of bracket or anything, since ultimately I'm probably going to change it. So from here, I think we take our 1 inch by 1 inch 3/16 angle, and we're going to mount basically right to this edge, front and rear. Run 2 down the side. I think we're doing 5 cross braces. We'll get those in, see how that works out. We'll probably end up running some legs this way or some supports this way, as well as it probably needs a leg or 2 in the middle. Again, we're not hauling anything, putting weight in here, but I don't want the middle to be flexing around a bunch and all that. So
We're gonna have that much bed storage.
yeah, I mean, even if we put like 1 leg in the middle just to keep it from rocking around, that's probably enough. But let's get the side pieces in, the cross braces in, and then we'll kind of decide from there what we want to do. I already measured. This is 8 feet, 1/2 inch or 1 inch?
1/2 inch.
1/2 inch. So we're just going to do 8 feet. And you know I'm going to rip nut it in because why not? I bought new ones, or bought more from Amazon, so got to use them up. You know.
You got all of them.
Yeah.
And we already wire wheeled all of the steel.
We did. So again, this metal's a little pitted. So you look at, like this one's not too bad. We took the scale off the top. That one's got some pitting and stuff in it. Again, this was super, super cheap from somebody local. It's no more pitted than the frame rails that we started with. And once it's painted and covered with wood, after this video, nobody's ever gonna see it again. So it'll be just fine for what we're doing. If it was structural and we were carrying weight around, then yeah, obviously. But we just need this to support that wood, and it's actually overkill for that. So we're gonna cut these 2 down at 8 feet real quick. See about getting some clamps in place, drill some holes, put in some good old rib nuts, and we'll go from there. Got one side mocked into place, just lightly clamped. The boards that we bought are a little long. Remember, this is just a hair over 8 feet. So we got 10-foot boards. These are 3/4 of an inch thick. I have it so it just barely fits underneath at each end. It will need a little support in the middle. Got a little flex to it, but once it's all welded together and we got some legs in it, I think we're gonna be okay. I think, honestly, if it's bolted on the four corners, and then we have a brace down the middle and we did a leg on either side, would probably be enough. But we'll, again, decide that a little later. So I'm going to try to drill through both of these at the same time as a pilot hole. This is the one we need for the rib knot, right?
Yes.
Okay. This luckily doesn't have to be exact. Hopefully I can get around our clamp here. You getting action shots?
Didn't you shush me earlier?
Huh? Exactly. All right. Can't wait to do that 3 more times.
Guess you gotta drill the other one before we unclamp it.
Yep.
This one's gonna be such a better angle.
Okay.
So now I have to take the clamp off.
Yep. Okay. Both sides are in. Definitely need some bracing in the middle. We'll worry about that, like I said, after we do cross pieces. I think we're going to do the same thing, basically, as we did with this. Measure out total length, cut the little notches out. This is 8 feet exactly, so we'll measure 2, 4, 6, and 8, or well, 2, 4, and 6. One at front, one at rear, and weld them in.
Sounds like a plan.
I'd be careful to tack weld and not burn up our clear coat. The other thing I'm a little worried about is pulling this all back out and welding it and having it warp. But as long as these 4 bolts line up, the rest of it's easy. Yeah?
Yeah.
Ready to cut some more metal?
I'm ready to watch you cut more metal.
Yeah. Alright, total length of 64 3/4. Excuse me. Another thing to note, because of the way the stake pockets work, these 2 side pieces do go out a little bit. I thought about spacing them or something, but that would put stress on the bolts and decided against it. As long as you put the boards on straight, it doesn't really matter. So, what did I say? 64 3/4?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's go. Might as well cut the front and rear at the same time. This will be a little more difficult to measure. Go right against that. Are you against it?
Yeah.
Ish.
Touching it.
We'll go 65 5/8. That'd be a little on the long side potentially. All right, let's go cut those real quick. All right, back one's made, front one's made. It's laying over there, but I think that should work. Seems to fit pretty good. So I'm gonna put a couple tacks on this. I did have to go back and forth with the grinder just a little bit. Make sure it was fitting just right, so. Probably have to do that with the front one too. Of course, that'll be harder, being that it's under that edge. Put a couple tacks. Start measuring out for the other cross pieces.
ask you where they are, but I can see them.
Nope. I hate this welder. And how short the stupid leads are.
New leads are so expensive.
Well, there's not any to fit this stupid thing either.
How's that?
Alright, oh, there's three installed. Alright, let's fit the front one. Ready?
Yeah.
Push.
That was neat.
That each. Nope. Yep. What's a little gap among friends?
That's a little warm. We got 4 pieces in now.
Yep. All right, I think the idea is to measure back 2 feet, 4 feet, 6 feet. We'll have to measure width, cut those all out, get those welded in, and then we'll figure out legs. Skipped ahead a little bit. All the cross braces are in. Went ahead and put braces down the middle to keep anything from wanting to do that. You can see how much the middle is flexing. We were leaning on it and grinding and welding. So I think the plan is, and I'm hoping it's enough. Again, we're not hauling anything. If we prop these sides back up to where we want them, we'll wedge something between the tire and the frame. I'm thinking if we go to the top of the step notch on each side, and then down to the brace above the drive shaft, and down to the brace above the, or next to the compressor. So we pick this up at 4 points, kind of a diamond shape. I was thinking about doing 6, but I can't do one in that back corner because there's a spare tire in the way. I mean, I guess we could do all but that one, but whatever. I really think one in the middle, front and rear, one in the middle on each side should be enough, again, for what we're doing. You know how grinders and wire wheels and specifically say, you know, be careful with loose clothing? I got another shirt.
You really need to stop trying to tear your clothes off every time we're working out here.
This is one of the new ones. I buy these shirts like 5 at a time, so I don't, you know, wreck all my t-shirts, and then I just wreck these every time I touch one.
You ripped like 5 holes in the back corner working on the frame yesterday.
Yeah, it's fine. Everything's fine. It's all right.
I mean, you were ripping a new hole in a t-shirt every time you wore one.
Again, that's what these were for. But anywho, I think we're going to use square tubing. I have some 1-inch square tubing. We're going to do kind of the same thing. We'll notch it around the angle iron, and then we'll just make like a little angle iron foot for it. I think that'll be plenty. First, let's start with propping this up, I guess. Where'd those 2x go?
There's one under there.
Okay.
I don't know where the other ones are.
All right, 1/2-inch nut on top of the 2x4 seem to do the trick. Again, this is not exact, but got a tight fit on our board there, tight fit on our board there, tight fit all the way up. So what we need is a measurement of 10 inches exactly. At least for that one. We'll do the middle first, see how it goes. Why is this one 10 1/4? Probably because I eyeball absolutely everything. All right.
Am I following you?
It's 5. I don't know where I'm going, or what I'm doing, or where I am.
But do you know who you are?
What are we talking about?
Never mind.
Okay. All right, so 10 inches exactly.
Okay. I know you watch Sesame Street. Why are you going with none of my references?
I even cut it straight-ish.
Ish. Grinders on tailgate.
Yeah. All right, so we need 4 of these at 1 inch or so.
I'm not cutting them this time.
All right, we'll cut another one at 10 1/4.
Uh-huh.
And 4 of these at 1 inch. We'll just put it like that. Weld it on. The top, I'm gonna notch the one side, so the top will be fully enclosed. We'll weld it all the way around. I'm gonna leave the bottom open. If any moisture does get in for any reason, a pinhole in the weld or whatever, it can get out the bottom. So cut another one, 4 of those, weld it all together, make some feet. Okay. Don't lose that.
It's not the one you lost last time.
All right, we'll see how we did. It's a little warm.
Yeah, it's smoking.
I mean, that makes a huge difference. It's a little flexy out here still, but I think that'll be okay.
Well, go prep this one over there. Careful, it's hot. There's a hammer over there if that would be easier.
Yeah, it's still a little flexy on the outside, but I think that'll be okay.
I mean,
this is all fully welded.
Yeah. I was gonna say if you really wanted to, you could.
I don't. Whatever you're gonna say, I don't. I'm talking about that in the snake pocket.
Yeah, you could weld a tab here.
Yeah, I thought of that.
And attach it.
We could. I don't think it's that important if this flexes around a little bit. You got to remember too, we're gonna have wood across it, bolted in all 5 spots. So
yeah,
that's gonna help too.
You just cut me off.
I don't want to. Whatever you're saying, I don't want to. All right, I'm gonna weld these. I think we're gonna make a leg for the front, make a leg for the rear, and probably call it a night. It is dinner time for us, and it's been a long day. Tomorrow morning we can get the wood mocked up
and stained.
And then we gotta take the entire thing apart, get this finished welded, ground, painted, wood stained. We have polyurethane clear gloss to put on it. We're still a little up in the air on excuse me, color for the wood. We got a very, very dark, almost like black. I kind of was leaning that way, but I kind of feel like the reddish brown color might look good too. So we'll make that decision tomorrow. So yeah, we're gonna knock out a couple legs, weld these 2 on, weld those 2 on. We'll see you guys in the morning. Good morning. Stayed out last night, finished up our legs, did all 4 of them. I think it's pretty solid. And we are connected in the corners here, and the next point would be all the way to here. In between that feels pretty solid. I don't think we need to add more. We talked last night about maybe adding a brace on these outer edges down, but it's already bolted here. I don't know if adding one here would make that much of a difference. Same with back here. It would be basically this area. I don't know if it would help that much. I mean, there's a little flex there, but again, you tripping on stuff right?
Tripping on a hitch.
I think once the boards are on and bolted down, I really don't think it's going to make that much difference. If it becomes a problem, that would be easy enough to add some extra supports later if we need to. So for now, I don't think we're going to worry about it. We still have a very big day ahead of us. We have all the wood to mock into place, and then we've got to tear this entire thing apart to get it painted. We've got stain and clear coat to do on the wood, a lot of grinding, a lot of finish welding. Yeah, you ready to get started?
Sure.
I only welded the top edges of what I could see, obviously. All underneath needs to be done, and all needs to be grounded. All the legs are bolted in. They're just threaded in. They're not tight. They're just sitting there for now because it's all got to come apart anyway. But as far as wood goes, I guess we can look at this one that we have out. These are just common boards from Home Depot. Most likely pine.
Flip this side on. Sorry.
That could be like, these are just common boards from Home Depot for a couple reasons. One, I like all the little knots and stuff in it. I think it adds character compared to, well, the whole vehicle has character, right? So I like all the little imperfections. Like that's not perfect. It's got a little knot, got a little nick in it. I like it. The other reason is the actual like pine boards, the selected ones with, selected for nice grain and all that, were twice the price. It was literally double the money to not have the knots and just have grain in it. And then we talked about doing oak, which is very popular, and it was 4 times the price as this. Just the wood alone to do this in red oak was over $600.
Yeah. If we were hauling something, it'd be different.
Yeah, and I looked into like the kits for like the actual bed floor kits. And I'm sure you can get one that goes all the way across and then you cut it yourself and all that stuff, but they're extremely expensive. If we got one specifically for this bed for the inner fenders, where the inner fenders bolt to the top of it, we would have had to modify our inner fenders and it wouldn't have fit anyway. It would have been off because we would have to essentially take our inner fenders and shorten them just a little bit. Shortening this way would inherently shorten it this way, so it wouldn't have fit the factory style kit anyway. So this is the route we're going to go. Again, we're trying to decide. We got a couple options. We have, I think, ebony, which is basically just a dark stain. And then we have one that's kind of a reddish brown that we might try. Maybe we'll do a little bit on the back of one and kind of go from there.
We have the ends that we're cutting off too.
That's true. We can do some scraps and decide which one we want to go. Originally, I thought all black, but there's not a lot of black on here. Or not black, but very, very dark. More I think about it, the reddish brown might tie in a little better, but we're a ways from that.
And we did go olive or oil-based stain and oil-based.
Oil-based stain, oil-based clear. The clear that we
it's on the shelf.
Yeah, the clear we got is which we're going to talk about later, but UV resistant, so it is for outside. So hopefully our stains won't fade and our clear won't. What's the word? Become not blurry, but faded.
Yellow.
Yeah, faded or yellow out.
It'll continue to protect the wood.
Right, and then it sheds water as well. So, and again, this isn't going to be watertight, but I don't want water soaking into the wood. Anyway, I guess we're going to start in the middle. I think is the easiest way. We'll measure out the exact center. These boards are 5.5 inches wide. So we'll measure exact center of where our frame is. Measure over 2 3/4 on either side. Line this up center. Put a bolt down the middle, and then just work our way out from there. I think it'll look better if the outside edge ones are a little thinner than one thinner strip down the middle.
I think that's the way that the actual bed floor kits are too, aren't they?
No.
Was it thinner in the middle?
Well, I think the last one we did, like the few 3 or 4 in the middle were the same width, and then there was 2 narrower ones, and then it.
Oh, that's what it was.
Yeah. Anyway, I think that's the plan. Take a measurement and start. How long are we going? I don't even know. You know where tape measure is?
Table?
We can go 8 feet and stop where the frame is, or we can come all the way back. I think we come all the way back.
I think all the way back.
I think 8 feet, 5/8 of an inch.
Huh?
I'd rather it be, I don't want to, like a 1/2 inch gap at the back, if that makes sense. It would look a little goofy. We just come all the way back to the tailgate.
And if it's too long, we can trim it a hair.
Yeah, they're going to be bolted in, but yeah.
Well, I meant we're going to test fit them before we bolt them in. Silly.
Well, the problem is we get to one side or the other, then we got to take it all back apart and turn them all down. So.
Yeah.
As far as that goes, we are exactly 65 inches. So what's that? 32.5?
Yes.
I'm in. Ugh. From this edge. Okay. 32.5. And then 2 3/4. My brain stopped. It just quit right there. 1, 33 3/4. 35 1/4. And then we go 1, 2.5. 29 3/4. So that's where our board is going to be. So I'm going to measure the center one so we don't end up crooked, and measure the very back one as well, the lid. And then start cutting boards at 8 feet and 5/8 of an inch. Mm-hmm. Right?
And start fitting.
Mm-hmm. Here we go. There's the line. And there's the line. Okay.
Ta-da!
I don't know where all the hardware went, but we got standard. So I thought about different ways to install the wood. Thought about screws up from the bottom through the metal. That would be a million holes to drill, which we already have to drill a bunch. But I'm worried about those screws pulling out of the wood over time. Also thought about doing like a trailer or car trailer style where you do a piece angle on the front, angle on the back. But I don't really want them vibrating and bouncing around in the middle. So we're gonna do pretty standard stuff and just do, like, we got a bunch of 1/4 inch carriage bolts. So drill a 1/4 inch hole through all 5. Get this one at least, we'll probably tighten this one to keep it in place. And then the rest of them will probably just drill the holes, drop the bolts in, and let them just sit there.
Okay.
Okay. So let me get a drill and drill bit out, because we lost everything overnight, because that's the way it works. And get this one attached, I guess. I don't know. All right, I think what we decided, we were originally just going to put 1 bolt in the middle, but I'm a little worried about the wood warping and curling up. So I think we're doing 2 each, measured 1 3/8 in on each side, which leaves 2 3/4 in the middle out of a 5-inch board. If we do the same on the other side, that'll be 2 3/4 gap between each bolt, if that makes sense. So it should be even, is what I'm getting at. I'm gonna mark down the center and try to keep this all as even as possible, if I can. So then we can continue this line on each board, and when we're all done, holes are all drilled and it's pulled off and all that, we'll sand off the pencil marks. I'm not awake yet, so drill, drop that on the ground, make sure we're centered.
Hardware to keep it from coming out or not?
Yeah, just want to make sure we're still in line.
Not all of it or just a nut?
Just a nut's probably fine. What is, oh, it's welder wire that I missed apparently. All right, 7/16 on a ratchet, if we could. All right. I don't know that we'll worry about tightening all of them down, but I do want the middle one to be in place so it doesn't move around. All right, we'll move to the middle one. Okay, first board in. 1 board, 10 holes, 10 bolts. And I think we're doing 12 boards total. What's that, 110 more holes to drill? This is gonna take forever. All right, well, time to blow my back out, leaning over this thing, wear through 3 or 4 drill bits. It's gonna be a good time. We got 3 boards down, or at least all the bolts in place, the holes drilled. That is tedious work. Drill bit gets too hot if you run it on high. You got to run it on low speed, so it takes a little time, but it's going. It's just, you know, is what it is. So we're just gonna rock on, keep going. We got what, a quarter of the way down or so. You will notice it's not easy to get perfectly in line on our line. Second one in on that side is kicked that way just a hair. And then you see like these ones I offset a little bit because I had a problem with the nut on the bottom, but it is what it is. I'm not too concerned with it. Hopefully we don't end up right at our brace. That's going to be an issue. Did not think about that. Well,
Guess we'll find out.
We'll see what happens. We'll keep rocking. It is a good little while later, and we've got basically all the boards in except for the outside edges. Quick update, a couple little mistakes, or wouldn't say mistakes, but something we kind of overlooked. We knew this would be just under 12 boards. So why I did one dead center, I don't know. Should have done a seam in the exact center. So we're going to end up with small pieces on the outside edge, which is fine. It's no big deal. Our legs that we built for the frame. One opposite of this on the other side, it ended up exactly next to one of the legs. And you can get the nut started, but you can't get a socket or a wrench or anything on it. This one on this side ended up inside the leg. So I ended up drilling it smaller. Ran a tap through it, and I think what we're going to end up doing is those two specifically. We'll probably just cut a little slot in the top of the carriage bolt, and then we'll just tighten it with a screwdriver. No big deal. Other than that, it's looking fantastic. That board on that side is a little warped. It's should be fine once it's tightened down, hopefully. But this guy I cut down 2 1/8 inch. It's it fits at the front. It's a little snug at the back, but it's got this lip here. I think we're going to try to pull this board out, set that one in place, and then set this one back before we drill our holes. I did go along and mark where I want a hole, because I can't just do the same measurements, because this angle iron tilts that way or goes that direction. So this row of bolts on the outside edges will be a little off, but I don't think you'll really notice it. All right, seems to fit pretty good. We'll have to wedge something in there to push it over and fix our gap, but that's basically what it's going to look like. Of course, stained and cleaned up and sanded and clear coated and frame painted, and you know, about 14 more days worth of work. The other one thing I noticed is, I'm not sure what happened, but we're kind of off on our ends. Probably because I'm an amateur and I'm not a carpenter, and it's just the way it is. Since these are all bolted down though, I do have a little palm sander. I'll probably just go along the edge. I think I have like some 60 grit and just knock that down so it looks smoothish. If it's not perfect, I don't really care. The tailgate's not perfect anyway. And then the front's kind of the same way. So I think after we take everything apart, we might have to put this end up once we have it smooth and where we want it. We might have to put this end of the boards up against something and then run the sander down the other side. So, all right, drill 10 more holes, and then we're taking this thing apart. Well, there's been progress. We got all our wood. We finished mocking it up, got all our holes drilled, all that. I got it all removed. Everything sanded and cleaned up, got all our pencil marks off, all that stuff, cleaned up the edges a bit. As far as stain goes, originally I had planned on something very, very dark. So I actually caught ebony stain. The more I thought about it, it would be basically black, right? And we don't have a lot of black on our project. I decided it would clash, so I ended up going with a one called, of course their lids are off, so I don't want to make a giant mess, or more than I already have, but I ended up going with red mahogany. This is a color called Jacobine, also very dark. So I've done some testing, as you can see. This is the red mahogany. I feel like it's too light. I want it darker. Then I moved on to the Jacobine. You see how dark that is and almost black. So I ended up mixing the two 1-to-1 and came up with this. Now it's obviously a little bit lighter with a little bit of red, kind of some red tones in it, and it's still darker or more black than what I wanted. So since I wanted more red, I just dumped a bunch more in there. Didn't measure anything, came up with, I don't know, I'm thinking 3-to-1 or 4-to-1, something like that, and came up with this. And I think that's the color we're gonna go with. I think this will complement the rest of our project really well. Now, obviously, it's got to be cleared and coated and all that stuff. So I think this is the way we're going to go. The unfortunate part is the stain needs 2 hours to dry. So I've got to stain all this. And then we're going to go over that with a, where to go? Polyurethane gloss clear. That needs 4 hours between coats. As far as the wood goes, I want to stain everything and then flip it over upside down, do poly across the bottom. I'm not going to stain the bottom, but I want to be able to seal off the bottom and edges from weather, right? So stain everything, wait 2 hours, flip it over, poly the whole bottom and sides, wait 4 hours, flip it back over, another 4 hours, or poly the top, another 4 hours, and then whether or not we need more than one coat on top. And I only have today. Imagine that. So I'm gonna get to work. I think I'm just gonna start working on it and get it stained while the stain's drying, while the poly's drying. I've got the frame out sitting over here. I've got to do a bunch of finish welding, finish grinding, stuff like that, and then get it painted, of course. Hopefully I can aim my sparks that way. So it's not all over our freshly stained wood. And I'm just gonna get to rocking. I'm gonna put headphones in and just get it done. And I think the next time you see this, it's gonna be finished, put back together. So I gotta get the spare tire mount out and finish it up too. Forgot about that. All right, here I go. Well, it's actually, I don't know, a week or so later. It took forever. Unfortunately, like, the stain took 2 hours to dry, and then the polyurethane took 4 hours per coat, and then we did the back side and the front side, and did 3 coats. And of course, you know, at the 4 hour mark, we weren't right back out here. We were doing other stuff, and things came up, and you know how it is. Life gets in the way, but it looks pretty cool. It turned out pretty good. I'm happy with it. I was hoping for a little more red than what's here. But all in all, I like it. It's arguably would have looked a little better, you know, down halfway with fender, inner fenders, but it gave us a place to put our spare tire. And again, we're not hauling anything with this at all. As well as there's not really the flex like it had before. Remember, there's a leg there, and there. Nothing along the edges except for it being bolted in at the 4 corners. And the wood kind of tied everything together. It's nice and solid. So it kind of looks like a patio deck, to be honest. We talked about painting the bolts either brown or black, but ultimately decided to just leave them natural. And I think it works. If you stand back and look at it, I think it ties in really, really well. Yeah, get out of the way. Get out of the, hide. ruining my shot. So, lot of work. You know, building the frame took forever. The wood wasn't that bad. Of course, the sand and the poly took forever, and then drilling a million holes. What was it, 120? I think we decided.
Yeah, there's 5 on each side.
Right, and then several bolts were very difficult. We had them too close to the angle, so we had to use a wrench, or there was a couple of them like we talked about. Like this one ended up right up against the leg, so I put a little slot in it and just ran it with a screwdriver. So the one at the leg on each side, and I think this one in the corner here, which, you know, not that big of a deal. It's fine.
Getting these outside bolts in, those are fun.
Yeah.
Or nuts.
So we were able to put the nuts on, you know, as we put the boards in until we got to the last strip, and, you know, full board and strip. We had to do those from underneath and reaching up past everything and trying to get those on. Whew. You didn't want to see that. There was curse words involved. There was stretching and sore backs and shoulders and all that. But
we were hooking tires and mufflers.
Yeah, working around the mufflers and all that stuff. Anyway, turned out pretty good, and I've been driving this thing. I've put probably 200 miles on it, which isn't a lot, but back and forth to work a couple days. It's running good. It's running good. Idling's a little funky. It either wants to kind of stumble and die or wants to idle high. I got to play with the carburetor a little bit, but I have new wires to run for our gauges, which I'll do that off camera. And we really got to do something with the interior and specifically the floorboards, because it gets hot in there. I could feel like my heels start burning, especially bombing down the highway for 35 miles, but she's sweeping the deck.
It reminds me of the deck that we had at the pool at our old house.
Yeah. Anyway, this thing's almost done. There's a lot of little stuff that's not that important. Like I said, I got to play with the carburetor a little bit, stuff like that. A couple of little things, running the wires. Other than that, we're interior away from being done with this. So that's going to be...
You need some heat.
Yeah. Which we have. We have all the stuff for it, so we're going to get rocking on that here next. But, oh, and I want to polish all this clear coat because, you know, there's runs and speckles and stuff everywhere. But anyway, I think that's it for this video. I'm rambling on just a little bit. But it turned out pretty good. Tell me what you think. Should I have done halfway down and done wheel wells? I don't know. I think it looks pretty good. It kind of looks like a deck, but it also kind of looks like a wood tonneau cover. I think it looks pretty cool. And realistically, there's the legs in it. If we go to a car show, we could put a couple chairs up here and just hang out. You know, a couple chairs and a nice chest. So, like, comment, subscribe, leave me comments, all that good stuff. You guys are awesome, as usual. Everybody's, what's the word? Positive, I guess I'm trying to say. Everybody's very positive with the videos. I like that. I enjoy that very much. I enjoy the interaction and all that stuff. It's been a really fun experience. People are enjoying this truck a lot, and I don't know what the heck we're doing next. We'll see, but...
Thanks for the encouragement.
Yeah, the encouragement was great.
And thanks for hanging out.
We appreciate you guys. Appreciate you following along, and we will see you guys next time.